Hello traders, how are you? Vladimir here, and this is weekly forecast for the week of 10 of April 2016. I hope you enjoyed your weekend, and I hope you're ready to rock another forex trading week. So last week we had some nice opportunities which we could still enjoy from, but this week, and actually from my point of view, the coming period, that means a month or two, going to be very interesting and provide some some crazy levels, which I believe we better try and enjoy from. Last week we've been talking a lot about pairs like Pound Aussie, Pound Canadian, sell rallies, Pound Kiwi also was one of the pairs we talked about for sell rallies. This view did not change, it's just maybe updated. We are approaching some monster zones. So let's start and look what do we have. The first pair I would like to start with would be the dollar versus the Canadian, simply because this one, here we go, still has the scenario to complete the triple cycle we have been talking about in a while. Remember this scenario? Okay, and that is still doable. Now, we still have a place here which was not close the gap, right? That's slightly below 126. Now, is that doable? The answer is yes. That's completing the triple cycle. This is going to, if we take the weekly triple cycle, see that? That brings us slightly closer to 50, which is the target of the weekly triple cycle. That takes us below this bottom. So far, technically all good. And that brings me with, especially with the amazing news from Canada last week from their job market. That what takes the Canadian still to the downside. Now, during the week, I was under the opinion here, that was my one of my views, that this could turn to be double-double, therefore do something like that. And that was one of the opinions. But since we created here a bearish hidden divergence and it could not break above the last highs, this is exactly the time to get careful. Okay? So of course for those who long, that means cash out partial and break even yourself. Right? The worst case would end up on break even the not closed pairs. The best case, you would be saved up here, and that's what might happen as for now. So it goes well right now, and I wouldn't look for longs currently. Of course, if the last bottom holds and we stop here, creating some potential reversal, that could even turn to be kind of a head and shoulders. Okay, I know it sounds a bit crazy right now, but that could still happen and take us all the way up. It's still doable, especially while this bottom holds. Okay? But as for now, I wouldn't try for longs, waiting to see how this week will start. Currently, the dollar is still weak. Canadian getting strong. We have cash rate in Canada this week, so we have to keep an eye on that. And technically, all the reasons to get another bottom right here. That's a bottom from July 2015, almost 1 year after we might get the gap close. Now, if you remember on the annual forecast, when we analyzed this scenario, we said that might be exactly like this V pattern. That's what pairs do on extreme situations, and that's exactly what's going on. And that's why I still believe we could get this bottom. But the great news are, once we get this bottom, that's 126-ish, could be slightly higher, slightly lower, or maybe even lower, like 124, 123, we are going for a massive reversal area, and that's going to be huge. Now, if we take a look on the first cycle, taking the triangle in consideration, that also brings us to 122 actually. So this is our zone. Now see, this was the first. This will be the second. Still developing, okay? So it could turn to be like this even. And it all will bring us to same conclusion. This is the zone. Now we here, once again, here we could get the bounce, short-term bounce, on this way, on this place, okay, bounces, but this is the real monster. Will we get there? One thing is for sure, if we do, we know we are going to attack the buys full power. So keep in mind this scenario. If we break below this bottom, look to sell rallies, aiming the 126, aiming then the potential that these levels. And another scenario that could turn to happen right now, currently, that we are moving in kind of a triangle. Okay? So we still might get an attempt like this, and then look to sell the rally versus the trend line. That's still a scenario to follow, aiming the targets we've been talking about. All right, that's about it. And as I said, if we suddenly reverse and then we break above the trend line, then we might switch it once again and get to 134. Okay, so right now it's on neutral. What will happen? We will see with the beginning of the week. So it's very important to get ready and prepared with all the scenarios that we should follow as the week goes. And that brings me to my favorite, Mr. Pound Canadian, which you remember my point of view, right? This was a scenario we've been talking about. Okay, the special cycle followed by some monster here. We are getting for a monster zone. Anything below 181, this place is going to be a monster. Of course, if we can take it here, that would be huge buy opportunity. I'm not sure currently we could get it there, but that's definitely something to pay attention to. Now, observe this area. Okay, that's after the attempt here. Okay, that's where we got the 161.8, which was broken. Therefore, that means that this cycle is not a cycle. That means that this is just one leg of something bigger. That's what makes me think this is a special cycle developing. And that should take us to below this bottom, maybe even lower levels. So what levels we still could measure? Well, if we take the monthly cycle, and we put on that this Fibonacci. Okay, we got through 38. Our next one is going to be the 50, and that's again slightly below 181. That's why I believe there is going to be an action there. And if we simply continue, we go to the 175 area, which where from we are going for bend to bend on monthly, and that means a monster. Currently, we are close to Bollinger Band duplication zone on the weekly. So areas become monster. Daily chart starts to show the potential divergence. If it does hold, we will be looking for long. So 181 zone approximately. This is the first potential reversal zone. Of course, if divergence not completed there, which means MACD to tick up, the histogram to tick up, and just continues lower, of course we don't even try to force. We let it go. Yeah, but if there will be fight, which from my point of view there should be, we will know to switch and look for potential longs. Okay, and if we take a look then on the short-term cycle, trying to figure out what is going on, we will be able, believe it or not, where is that here? Oh, come on. Here we go. Okay, we will be able to see that this is duplication of this small cycle. This would be also 161 zone, see that, of this small cycle, and this is going to be also duplication of this one beautiful cycle. So here you go, action zone. Do you understand how many orders are going to be there? See that? That's the thing, my friend, and that's what we have to pay attention to as traders. Let's move on. New Zealand and Canadian, another interesting pair from my point of view. I was the entire week looking for breaks above this trend line. Since the breaks don't happen, and we did break below this support area around 08850, that looks like we are switching here for bearish and about to complete triple cycle correction. So in other words, full mirror. So if that was our first, oh, come on, here we go. So full mirror. So basically we should cross it a bit here, okay, and then look for long. So in other words, let's try to make it simple. As long as we don't have this bottom and new divergence to create potentially triple cycle like 1, 2, 3. The idea, sell rallies. Now we have a good trend line. Okay, there's no divergence to prevent it. Therefore, drop down to lower time frame. And at the beginning of the week, look for reversals. Boom, boom, boom. 2 waves or 3 waves and look for sells. Risk reward in your favor. Aim at least the bottom and try even lower. There's big potential we go to 088, 086 zone. So keep an eye. Of course, the only thing we'll avoid it if it switched higher and go through new highs above 089.70 approximately. Then we will have to remove the bearish plan. So keep that in mind. Very nice opportunity as well. Alright, done with the Canadian. Oh, no, sorry. CAD. Now, I've been talking about this triple cycle for a while. You remember this cycle, okay? And talk about it also on the daily forecast. So, those of you who do follow the daily forecast, you remember this scenario. Now, that was a great bounce on the short term. Now we got, believe it or not, triple cycle to the upside. Can we still go for a rally here? The answer is yes. We have a bullish divergence. That's a hidden one. We have a trend line meeting point, good one. As long as this trend line will hold and the divergence will remain under potential, from my point of view, we might be looking after long. Now, first scenario for longs would be like this. This was triple. We need 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to 50 zone. Break above it, this trend line, like, could bring us in. The risk reward in our favor. This would be the short idea. Okay, go back to 50 of the big cycle. 50%, of course. 50 means 50%. Okay, now risk reward should be in our favor. If it doesn't, if it doesn't go in our favor, of course we don't go with the trade, right? It makes sense, right? See that point? If we don't get the risk reward, right, we don't need even to bother. Why? We will get the better opportunity later or sooner, so why just waste time on something that cannot pay us well, right? So this is the idea. Now, from here, basically, there are big chance we will switch it up again and continue. I want to remind you why I am bullish yet on the long view. Okay, because we still need to go to 92. This is 50% of the triple cycle from weekly chart. So that's what keep me bullish in my mind. Now, if this scenario doesn't happen the way I want, and it goes for one, just go straight without providing the 2 waves down in the breakout we wanted, and just go lower, let it go, because that could be the scenario like this, and then a rally, or all continuation all the way down for something bigger from weekly chart, maybe another bottom even, back to 75, 73 zone. It's too early right now to talk about that. Just keep in mind this is still doable. Why? Because the monthly trend line goes right there. Will that actually reach that? As for now, I have all the reasons for a doubt. Could that happen? Answer is yes. But as for now, for me, the potential scenario for bullish run is bigger than the bearish. And that brings me to the yen, dollar yen, a monster. We've been talking about 108, 107 zone for a while. My dear friend, here we are. We are right there. Keep here the attention. Cycle number 1. This is a monster. That things happen once in a while. That's why it's so hot, and that's why I want your focus here. Because these things don't really happen often, and that's where you have to Put your focus. Take a look. That's where we are. That's what we have. That's the monster. So why did I put it here? Okay, this is a range. We can put it here. Can put it here. It will not change the game too much. Just give us the zone. This is our monster. Could we get 107 first of all and 106? The answer is yes, of course. We could spike through, but we are getting for the reversal. Okay? It starts with 108. It goes through 107, 106. It could even drop down to 100 right here. You remember my explanation from previous week. If you don't, please go back to last week weekly forecast and take a look on this explanation. That's what dollar yen doable. But Japan is getting worried by the yen strength, this sudden strength. That means that a lot of traders are still running back to the yens as kind of the safe area, the safe haven, while the confidence about the stock market is going kaput. And that's what it looks like and it feels like. Now, could Japanese government and the central bank intervene once again? The answer will be, of course they could, and they even might. That's why I say we are on this zone. As per investment, those of you who love to invest, that's a great place to start to get ready for this opportunity. 108, 107, 106, whatever we can get divergence and attack. Now, talking about divergences, there was no divergence here actually, as for now. That's why jumping in here has its risk. I have been attacking the 108 zone for one reason actually. First of all, the daily cycle, but also this triple. That was very short, and this was a nice divergence for a reversal. But since we got triple, that's a great place to call it off and game over as for now. So what's coming next? Could we get a false break here? Like drop down and reversal? The answer is yes, and that will bring us in again. But the ideal would be slightly wait for the daily divergence to form. That could be here, that could be a bit lower. Once this daily divergence forms, that would be pretty good time to jump in. What will happen if the central bank will already intervene? Well, that could make the things fly to the upside. As for now, I am a bit doubtful that they will rush to do that. But below 105, the pressure will get high. And on 100 area, the big double cycle zone right here, this would be the zone that they will probably not be able to allow. Now, if you take a look on the dollar yen weekly chart, you can see that there is a monster zone 106.50 of the harmonical pattern. Another reason why we are getting for a short-term reversal. So get ready, my friend. We are there. And that brings me to pound yen, which is still under the bearish pressure, breaking the last bottom. There is no bullish divergence yet. The cycles continue to the downside. And now pound yen very likely doing the special cycle like this. Okay, so we probably go to below 150, like 148, 147, maybe even 143 zone, okay, before we can talk about the rallies once again. This is wave number one. Got it? This is duplicated, right? And this is where we go. 147, very likely even lower until this divergence completes itself. On a short term, what can we do and how can we join? 1, 2, 3, 4. Look for sells. Look for mirror this, and this would be your jump in the sell. Okay, this is the idea for pound yen. Every two waves up, which are mirrored to the previous cycle, jump in. That's all. And what to do if it's not a double cycle but triple or special? Okay, let's say 1, 2, 3. Then just jump in. That's all. Just don't jump in because the triple and special cycles normally are just corrective cycles. part of something bigger. And that's the idea here. So keep in mind this opportunity that could pay like a monster. And euro yen, from my point of view, also should go lower. I don't see any reasons why it has to stop and why it might stop. Weekly chart doesn't show nothing. There is no reason to stop here also based on cycles. Even the 100%, which is irrelevant currently because the second leg develops way too longer, but still the 117 zone is the zone we're probably going to. So on the lower time frame, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we can go and sell. Okay, tuk, go for sales. Alternatively, we go for something like that, and a breakout will bring us in a sell again. That's all. That's all I can say. Okay, these things are here to move. Now, euro dollar. Euro dollar, from my point of view, is going to 117. We are in a buy. One of the scenarios during the week was to buy bottoms of the range. This is the range here, right? And I'm still on this opinion. Yeah, I know there is a kind of divergence forming on the 4-hour chart, but it's not real divergence. So if we are lucky to get something like this back to trend line and then long, perfect. But if it just breaks above, look to like break, tick, tick, 2 waves down and lower time frames and buy. We are very likely aiming the zone of 117 based on these two beautiful cycles. That's 116.50 up to 117 approximately. This is the zone. Okay, we are aiming there very likely. I don't see any reason why it would stop, especially with the weak dollar. The Fed also did not change the game too much, so yeah, that's all. Next one, pound dollar. Pound dollar, I still think we are playing in the zone of the range. The best thing to do would be try and get the breakout of this trend line. Once we can get it and gain this momentum, I'll be looking for 2 waves down lower time frames and get in a buy, aiming back the top of this range. Still doable, still technically well. If it reverses and go lower, then you just remember our long-term expectations, the 133, still doable. That brings me to the euro versus the pound, which is right here, which aims very likely the zone of 082, 083 right now, especially after not doing much after this triple cycle we had before, 1, 2, 3, which we analyzed previously. Now this is the combo we have, the new combo, okay, of the zones. That's 082, 083. That's where I expect the weekly divergence take place. Daily to perform there as well. We have a trend line going right there as well. That's going to be a monster. This is monthly band to band, slightly more. Get ready for action. That's all I can tell. And on the short term, of course, we could try the short-term cycles like this and this, but we will have to respect situations when it just go range. Don't force things to happen. Now, I tried this short, okay? I tried this short, but I ran away. Maybe like a chicken, but run away because there is no reason to try and to fight because I always say that it might sound like a cliche, but it's not. If you want the market to respect you and show you the respect, and of course, the respect means pay you back, right? Profits. You have to respect the market back. You cannot expect profits if you don't know to listen to what the market tells you. Sometimes the market tells you don't trade. Sometimes the market tells you don't hold your trade if you are in. And you have to be able to read that and to listen to the market. If you are, there is no reason to fight scenarios that don't turn to be as you expect them. If there is no momentum gained as you would want it to, why would you waste your time, waste your energy, waste your focus, and waste your money on something that don't give the odds in your favor? Make sense? right? I'm not saying new things. I'm just saying the things that we should remind ourselves from time to time, and like a wake-up call, right? And that's the situation. So for me, if we do get the correction down, perfect. Be looking too long. Okay, but if it's ranging and doesn't want to do that, okay, don't do. Go for your 82, 83. I'll be there. I'm going to attack you once again. I have my patience. That's all. And the mirror of this one is Pound-Franc, which from my point of view also is going to be a monster. And just want quickly to remind you where we are, what we have. This, and this. Pretty rare, but amazing. See that? Here we go. See this triple duplication. Amazing scenario. Okay? Divergence, yeah, it's not perfect, but it's there. Especially if we take an increase. Okay? It's still not there, but it is developing. Of course, it's there, including all the big stack. I don't like such situations, but that's what make me think, very likely, we will get some pullback and one more bottom. That's where divergence will recreate. And of course, we have to keep attention also to the weekly Bollinger Band duplication on this area. We have, no, trend is not going from, through there. We will, on the short cycles, short time frame cycles, we will also get this end by divergences. Once we get a daily and a 4-hour chart combos, we can attack. Before that, you can still be easily dealing with sell rallies plans. That would be all. Okay, so that's all about the forex market. Now there are pairs like pound Aussie, pound Kiwi, but I don't change my mind here. It's same like it was, so don't want to waste your time. Okay, next one is Aussie Kiwi, which I think we have to get ready for a potential buy. Here is why. 2 waves down, corrective range, and we can get it right here. That's 110.20 approximately, slightly lower maybe. So I will want to get like turn moves here, some kind of divergence, and then I'll be dealing with breakout. So something like that should provide us a buy opportunity. We're protecting the trend line. We will be aiming the reversal all the way for new highs. Keep this in mind. Gold and silver. Well, gold looks like it will want to mirror its previous special cycle. As for now, we did double. It should do double here. Very likely we will get this next. So from my point of view, while 1263, 1265 holds, for me it's sell and sell rallies. We are now on 2 waves up, also these 2 waves up, so basically break below the trend lines and we can start to look for potential sells. Okay, so that's my scenario. That's also might look like a head and shoulders. That means silver also still has the chances to move in the range I've been talking about last week. Okay, so basically some chance it will do something like that. Okay, so keep that in mind. We will be following this scenario. Oil, I said not once, I said not twice, I said not thrice. Buy dips was and remains the plan. From my point of view, oil is going higher. Will it go straight higher? About that, I still don't have answers. There is a chance we are going for a range pattern right now. So something like that. Potential here. Okay, for 2 big waves. This scenario is on. But buy dips will remain the plan. As for now, that's what we have. We should recreate this divergence. Okay, and here we might get some short-term reversals. After that, again, 2 waves down, 3 waves down, followed by bullish divergence is a buy. My view did not change. Those of you who did follow and got long like we spoke last week, good. Go with that, hold that, No reason to change. Of course, you can cash on the way, enjoy your profits, right? But no change. All right, S&P, is that a head and shoulders? It is still a scenario. Okay, of course I will want to get some break and momentum in order to continue lower, but there is still scenario we are going for the one push higher. I want to remind you that the scenario where we get 2200 is still doable. I'm talking about this 161.8 expansion. I know it sounds far right now, but it's still doable, especially with some potential interventions could come from other markets. But while this trend line and last stop hold, and the bearish hidden divergence is yet on, and the bearish continuing divergence here on a daily time frame is yet on, for me it's sells. There is no convergence yet anywhere to provide some sell opportunity, so for me I am still after sells. Okay, but I will want to get a break of the range, or at least this kind of scenario before, okay, like to make sure the trend line holds. And if it does, we'll be looking on short term like this, sell the breakouts. Okay, so it goes this way, and then try an aim 1970 and lower, maybe all the way. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy right now, but maybe all the way back to the range, which is 1840, 1850. It's still doable. It's still tricky. It doesn't behave too convincing yet, but all the reasons are there. Will that happen or not? Our goal is not to guess. Our goal is to trade and make money. So we just have to follow that. That would be all. Now, the DAX provide some better opportunities. Here's a trick here with the DAX. It could make this triple. It did reach the 50, so we could get like this. 2 waves up before we talk about sells. It's doable. But one scenario I want to keep in mind, since if we drop down to lower time for another 4-hour chart, that's what we got. We got 2 waves down, right? Now we might get 2 waves up, and if it holds and retrace, I will try to join the sells. With small risk, big reward, that could pay, aiming all the way to new bottom, create the divergence on the weekly chart. So watch for these scenarios. That would be all for this week, my friend. I wish you a wonderful week. Happy trading, successful trading, good results. I hope you enjoyed this, the video and the forecast. I enjoy every week to create it for you and for your benefits. Feel free to put your questions, comments, and of course feedbacks. Your feedbacks, my motivation, my reason to continue. Feel free to share it with your friends or whoever you believe can have any benefit by watching that. Sorry if it took a bit longer than normally, just had too many things to share. So once again, thank you for your time, and I wish you a wonderful week. Yours, Vladimir Ribakov.